Welcome to this short tutorial about twin trading. I'm your host Nick Engels, I'm 23 years old and I've been trading currently over 3 years and couldn't be more excited to be able to share my value and my knowledge that I've acquired throughout the years with every single one of you guys. Today we're going to be talking about what twin trading is, we're going to be talking about how we can use this inside the markets, and we're going to be talking about how this knowledge will get your trading skill to the next level. Let's see what the current situation is we are having our eye on. We're currently looking to the chart of Euro USD and we've spotted a beautiful uptrend. A little recap for the viewers that are totally new to the trading world. An uptrend is basically a diagonal line up that you will be able to spot where price will always react on and move to the upside, hence called an uptrend. Right? You can view this as a sort of trampoline that every time the price will touch this uptrend, it will work as a trampoline and bounce the price back up. You can see price touched this uptrend again, bounced back up, touched this uptrend again and bounced back up. Now normally what we do inside trading, we're gonna spot certain points in the market that we can say, hey, we think price is either gonna go up or price is gonna go down. Now, when we've spotted this beautiful uptrend, obviously we are able to spot some good areas of entry. This over here is a beautiful area to take an entry. Then we have this area over here. And last but not least, we have this big area over here. These are all potential areas we can look for to take what we call in the trading world a buy. A buy is you saying, I think market and I think the price is gonna move upwards. Why are these areas logical places? Well, we just learned that an uptrend works like a trampoline and every time price comes inside this area, it is touching this trampoline and moving price up, as you can see over here. So if we would have taken a buy in these areas, we would have been in profit. Now what happens is that not always we take the most perfect entries. It might be possible that, for example, you have a buy entry at this point, right? I'm gonna put this in light blue. What happens then is you say at this point, hey, I think price is gonna go up, market is gonna move up. But what you see is that price actually moved to the downside, right? This is what we call a pullback. In a major move like this, you can always spot pullbacks and you can spot impulsive moves. The move up is what we call an impulsive move. So as you can see, the first impulsive move up, it's away from the uptrend, the diagonal line. And then we have a pullback. This is when price comes back towards the trampoline, towards the uptrend. So we have our first impulsive move, our first pullback, our second impulsive move, our second pullback, and then our third impulsive move. So this wave consists of 5 moves, and this is what most of you guys in the trading world will call an Elliott wave, right? Now let's focus back on twin trading. Normally, when you have an ideal entry, there is no problem whatsoever. But it might happen that your entry is not ideal and you get caught in what we just explained is a pullback. Now what happens then is if your price drops, you go into the negative, as you can see over here, right? Now there are 2 options if you're in a situation like that. And this is what we'll talk about today. The first option is you have your entry over here at the blue circle, all right? We're gonna put a little horizontal ray on there. So we have an entry over here at the blue horizontal ray line. Right? This is our entry. Let's put it in the same color. This is our entry. Now what happens? The first option is you just wait. Your price goes down into the negative and then it moves up again. And then at a certain point you will hit your TP, right? A TP is what we call our point of take profit. And this is a level we will fill in where our trade will automatically close and take our profit for us. Now, just for exemplary purposes, we will set our take profit at the 800 level. I'm gonna put this in a green line and gonna fill in the 800 level. So in our first example, let's write this out, right? example 1. In our first example, we have an entry point. An entry point is the place we take an entry inside the market. This is the blue circle and the horizontal ray over here. In the first example, we have an entry point around 1.09472. Let's make it a little bit more easier, and let's say we have an entry point at the 400 level. All right, just to make the calculating a tiny bit easier, let's put our entry point on that 400 level. So our first example is that we have an entry point over here at 1.09400, and we have our TP, as we just put it, the green line, at 1.09800. All right. Now what happens in our first example is we just wait. All right. Imagine that we take this trade. If we take a trade in general, and this is a little bit of risk management, we have a couple of options, and this is what we call lot sizes, right? We have three mainstream categories of lot sizes. We have the 0.01, we have the 0.10, and we have the 1.00 lot size, right? The 0.01 is what we call a micro lot. The 0.10 is what we call a mini lot. And this 1.00 is what we call a standard lot. Depending on the lot size you use, you will get paid out a different amount of dollars concerning for the amount of pips, the amount of movement in the market you take. To keep it easy, for exemplary purposes, we will just take this 0.10 mini lot size as an example, as this stands for $1 per pip. All right. How do we measure these pips? We just take this measure tool, we measure from our entry point, the blue line, up until the green line, and we can see that this has a result of 40 pips. All right. So from our entry point towards our TP, this is 40 pips. Now, in this example, just to keep it easy, we would use 0.10. That is $1 for every pip, and that means we just made 40 bucks. Hooray, right? Now we did just wait. That was all, right? We just waited. Now what could have happened as well is that this kept on going the wrong direction, because this is the case that it hits our TP. This is the good scenario. Now what could have happened as well is that this price kept on going towards the downside, and it actually hit what we used to call a stop loss. We have our TP, this is our take profit. This is when the trade goes good, it will automatically take our profit. We also have a level which we call a stop loss, which we're also gonna put our 800 level, right? Or let's put our 00 level. And this is where the trade will take his loss automatically, right? Let's put our 200 level even, 0.9, 200. Let's put it at 100. Yes, 100, right? This will be the level, if your trade keeps on going wrong, that your trade will automatically close. Now, to determine where to place your stop loss, I will give a session or make a video on that in the future, but basically you always make sure that you put your stop loss on the other side of your trend. So if this trend gets broken, then your stop loss gets hit. It's really important to use the right risk management. It's really important to work with a stop loss so you protect your account. It's always capital protection over capital growth. That's a really, really important lesson when it comes to trading. But that's for a future session. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is, look, if it hits our TP, 40 pips, we make 40 bucks. Easy enough. Now, if it hits our stop loss, we just placed our stop loss in this example at 1.09100, right? That means that TP hit, this happens, right? Because from the 400 level to 800, that's 40, right? Now, from the 400 level to the 100 level, we can measure this, again, just by using the tool. We go from this blue line until the red line, and we see 30 pips, right? That means that if the stop loss is hit, we have 30 pips. If we then use again the same lot size as in the example, $1 for every pip, this means that if it would have gone wrong, we would have lost 30 bucks, right? This is the normal example. This is if you normally trade, all right? You have your entry point over here, you have your take profit over here, and your stop loss over here. Now, what is twin trading, right? And that's the subject of the video today. That's the topic of the video. Twin trading is taking two entries with 2 times half your lot size. So you take 2 different entries with 2 times half your lot size. All right, that's what twin trading is. You don't take 3 entries, you don't take 4 entries, 2 different entries with 2 times half your lot size. Now, what would be the benefit of doing this? Let's take a look. All right. First and foremost, we have our first entry over here. Now, what we might expect when we take a trade is that this trade goes in a little bit of drawdown. As you can see, this trade went lower and it went towards its previous high over here. We can put what we call a support on this, right? As you can see, this went to its previous high, retested that, and then went up again. I'm going to delete this blue circle, right? It retested that previous high and then went up again. It also made a touch with this uptrend. And then for the people that have been trading for a while, you can also use the Fibonacci tool to identify a 61 Fib pullback. This is a tool that most of the time we use to measure our pullbacks. So you see a move up, it made this pullback towards that 61 level, which is always a sort of trampoline as well, and then it moves upwards again. Now, if this all sounds a little bit like Chinese, don't worry. I will go more in depth in the future on any of these techniques. Just stick with me for the twin trading part. All right, we have this first entry over here. Imagine we take a second entry over here. So we take a horizontal ray again. Imagine we take a second entry somewhere over here. Now what happens then is then this is what we call twin trading. We don't have only one entry, but we have 2 entries at the current moment. So let's write out our second example. In this example, we apply twin trading, right? Example 2, we apply twin trading. Now what happens? First and foremost, we still have that same entry over here. This is the exact same entry as the first example. So our entry point 1, right? Or entry 1, right? This is still the same exact. So we just copy this number, 1.09400. But we now also have an entry point 2, right? And this entry point 2, in this case, let's put it at the 200, just again to make it a little bit more easier. This entry point 2 is at the 200 level, so 1.09200. Our TP is still at exactly the same place, so 1.09800, exactly the same as in the first example. And our stop loss is at exactly the same place at our first example. So nothing really changed, right? Our stop loss is still 1.09100. Nothing really changed except the second entry. The TP is the same, the stop loss is the same. The first entry is the same, we just have a second entry being added, all right? Now take a look at this. Imagine TP gets hit, right? What does that mean? That means that that first entry from 1.09400 goes all the way towards that 1.09800. That's 40 pips, right? 40 pips. Now this is not done with our 0.10 lot size. This is done with half your lot size. So what we do is, instead of in the example 1, we took our entry point with lot size 0.10. Now what we did in our example 2 is we took 2 entries with half our lot size. That means our entry 1 The half of 0.10 is 0.05. And our second entry, we just did exactly the same. 0.05 plus 0.05 is 0.10. So we took two entries with half our lot size. This is what we call twin trading. If that TP gets hit for that first entry, that means that for entry point number 1, we have 40 pips, which 40 pips times 50 cents a pip, $50 cents a pip, that results in 20 bucks, right? Now, if that TP gets hit, that means that not only that entry point 1 gets hit, but also entry point 2 gets hit, right? Also, that second entry will hit your TP. Now, this will not only have 40 pips, this will be more. Let's measure it. This second entry goes from this blue line all the way to the green line, and we have a result of 60 pips instead of 40. So let's write this down. Our entry point 2 had 60 pips profit. 60 times 50 cents, because half, here it was €1 a pip, now we're using half, so it's only 50 cents a pip, right? 60 times 50 cents, that's actually 30 bucks, right? Imagine our situation goes wrong and we were not right, we were actually wrong, then the stop loss will get hit. What happens then? Both entries will have a stop loss. For entry point 1, this will be exactly the same as our first example, so 30 pips, right? 30 pips, 30 times, and we do exactly the same, 50 cents a pip actually equals 15 bucks, right? 15 bucks. So this equals and this equals. Now also our second entry will hit our stop loss, entry point number 2, but we will have to measure it because this is not at the same place as the first entry. And if we actually measure from our second entry towards our stop loss, we see this is only 10 pips, right? So let's adjust this. Our second entry only has 10 pips. 10 times 50 cents a pip equals 5 bucks. So if we make a total of that, right, TP, that is 20 plus 30 is 50 bucks. This is easy, right? If we make a total loss, so total stop loss, 15 plus 5 is 20 bucks. Now let's compare the two, all right? Let's compare the two. We have our first example and we have our second example. In our first example, what we did is we took one single entry at this blue line over here and we just waited. We took one entry with our full lot size or lot size of 0.10 in this example. We just waited and it either hit TP. If it would have hit TP, we would have made 40 bucks. And if it would have hit our stop loss, which didn't in this case, we would have lost 30 bucks, right? In our second example, we applied twin trading. Now we learned that twin trading is taking two different entries on the same trade with 2 times half your lot size. So what we can see in our second example is that our TP is exactly the same, still this green line. Our stop loss is exactly the same, still this red line, but we just took two different entries. We took the same entry as the first example, but we took a second entry over here at the second blue ray. At both entries, we used half our lot size. So instead of using 0.10, we actually used 0.05. So we took two entries with 2 times half our lot size. And this is what twin trading is. Now, if this would have hit TP, we would not have made 40 bucks, but we would actually have made 50 bucks. If this would have hit stop loss using the twin trading, we would not have lost 30 bucks, but we would actually have lost only 20 bucks. This means that if you apply twin trading correctly with the right risk management, it will make sure when you win, you actually win more, and when you lose less. Now, really important for this to work is to apply the right risk management, to only take 2 entries, and to at both entries use half of your lot size. This is key, because otherwise this technique will actually not work. This is one of the most powerful things I have personally learned throughout my trading journey, and I'm really excited and really blessed to be able to share it with every single one of you guys. This is gonna be it for me for today. I hope you had some value. If you liked this video, make sure to smash the like button and to subscribe to the channel for more value coming up really soon. See you next time. À la próxima. Ciao, ciao.